Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. And check out that eye, that's exactly what we want to see. Woo, look at that panel, baby. And that, as they say, is that. A long time ago, in a galaxy not so far away, because we're talking about Dark Horse Comics, today on Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, I, the Uncanny Omar, am going to give you an advanced look at the Star Wars Hyperspace Stories Library Edition Volume 1. So let's go ahead and open this up and talk about the type of stories found in here and what exactly this is that makes it so different than the Marvel releases. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to the folks at Dark Horse Comics for sending us an advanced copy of this book. This book is due out in the direct market and book market on October 21st or 22nd, depending on where you get your books. Also, depending when I release the video, I filmed this, well, today is October 18th. I hope I release this before October 21st, 22nd, but if it doesn't make it, I'm so sorry. May the force be with us, right? Let's keep it positive. All right, so what exactly is this? This particular release actually surprised me and a lot of other people. I had people reach out to me on my comment section for the upcoming collected editions of the month, asking me what exactly this library edition is. So really quick, a library edition from Dark Horse Comics is an oversized book. So to compare it to a Marvel omnibus, it is taller and longer. Obviously not as thick, because they don't tend to contain that many issues, unless we are talking about what's right behind here is that monster size Hellboy. Yeah, that's kind of crazy that they made one like that. That's huge. But yes, these are art on board, usually, unless I think for the most part they're art on board. There's very few exceptions, like the Goon Library Editions or the original Harrow County. Most of the time they're art on board. But yes, this is the same dimensions as Harrow County, Nocturnals, the Snow Angels, Mike Mignola's Hellboy Library Edition. So the art is on board. Up here you have Michael Morecci, Amanda Debert, and Cecil Castellucci. And then Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, Library Edition Volume 1, the Disney logo at the bottom. And over here you have the horsey, the Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, what my daughter used to call it. Hyperspace Stories, Library Edition Volume 1, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Dark Horse logo down there. And then back here, who are these characters? Well, some of these may be familiar to you, and some, if you haven't watched the Disney shows or even seen some of the CG shows or read the comics, may not be familiar to you. Or seen any of the sequels or prequels, I guess. But down here, we have the Disney logo, the Lucasfilm logo, and the Dark Horse logo. Over there is the ISBN, and the retail price for this one is $59.99. And really quick, what is this out of continuity? What exactly is this? As a matter of fact, not at all. It's in continuity. It's just kind of geared towards a younger audience. But there's still Star Wars things in here, which I'll explain as I talk about the stories. So let's do that next. Let's actually go ahead and open it up and talk about the type of stories found in here and what makes it unique. Okay, let's go ahead and get this book opened. Here are your end sheets. I love that. Star Destroyer, and over here we have some TIE fighters. That's awesome. I love when they add just graphics to the end sheets. It does so much for the book. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories Library Edition Volume 1. And here are your credits. Michael Morecci, Amanda Debert, and Cecil Castellucci. Illustrations by people like Lucas Marangon, Megan Huang, Andy Dugan, and Andre Moody, just to name a few. Coloring by Michael Attier and Dan Jackson, Nicola Rehe, just to name a few. And lettering by my buddy Tyler Smith, and then Jimmy Bedencourt. And the cover art is by Carrie Nord, and broken down into different chapters. So if you're a type of detective that is looking at exactly what's collected in here. Collected in here is Star Wars Hyperspace Stories 1 through 12. Hence, the 12 different chapters. And again, you have the covers here, and they do give credit to the cover artist. For example, this one is Lucas Marangon. And most of the time, it's usually the artist that is doing the internal artwork. So this one, for example, on the left-hand side, they give credit. They don't tell you what issue you're on, but when... Yeah, man, these has thick, glossy paper stock. You can tell by the different chapters, of course. For example, this is by Amanda Diebert, Lucas Marangon, Michael Atiyeh, and then, of course, Tyler Smith and Jimmy Betancourt working on the lettering. But this is all taking place during the prequel trilogy, probably around in between episodes 2 and 3. So this is the story of Padme giving protection to this particular little character right here that happens to be the daughter of somebody very important. I do love that every one of these, by the way, is connected. So who she gets in charge to protect this little girl are, of course, the Jedi. So first she has to get it approved by the Jedi Council. So you go back to this and you see them talking. You see Padme talking to the Jedi Council and then them approving of this protection. Because apparently there's a group of separatists in this planet and they're trying to assassinate her. So it really starts off with something like that. It's not just like the prequel trilogy. We're going to see things from the original trilogy and then the sequel trilogy. So you're going to see everything from in between episodes 1 through 9 in here to kind of simplify things. It might confuse people when I say original trilogy and prequel trilogy, but I assume most people probably know. What is really cool about this is that everything is connected with the first story. There's something that has to do with the little doll that this little Wookiee is carrying, or just other things that kind of tie it in together. Because we're going to be jumping back and forth. It's not done in like a chronological order or anything. And you're going to see appearances by other characters than the ones we mentioned earlier. As you probably saw here in the first issue, it is Emperor Grievous who's behind this assassination. So, not Emperor Grievous, sorry, he's not an emperor, he's a general. But it's up to Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker to put a stop to them. So, this little girl does play an important part through here. And so does the planet of Kashyyyk. So, what is the next story about? This is about Luke and Leia ending up on this place called Benas, and then meeting a very important character named Holorum. I'm not going to spoil how everything is connected, but this one does have a little Wookiee doll, and this one has a very important part to play in, well, what will become The Empire Strikes Back. And then we have, this is the Poe Dameron and Finn's story right here, where they go to a western town. We have Rey playing an important part here, where there's an assassination attempt. There's a lot of assassination attempts, but we don't know exactly who they're trying to assassinate. Again, just revolving around this family and these Wookiees and these very important people in, I guess, a place of government in the Wookiee village here. But this is where we see this one bounty hunter, what is her name? Morar Jaranda is her name. And we don't know exactly who she's after. Is she after Rey or is she after the young girl? Oh my gosh. Then we get like special surprises like this, where we see Ventress right here, a character that I know I really like. I'm not the only one, who has to fight not a Jedi, but it's a little bit of a twist as to who she has to end up fighting. We have a Greedo story here, of course, before episode 4 and invading Jabba's palace. And we've got a bounty hunter story, because what is a Star Wars story without a secret bounty hunter story with Boba Fett and Bosch right there? With, again, a MacGuffin that they have to steal. Somebody is after one of these things. And then we have some things like this, where it's the First Order. So we've gone from the Emperor, we've gone from the prequel trilogy, before there was even an Emperor, but there was the Sith Lords, into now the First Order. So we do have General Hux here, and the story of Kylo Ren, And moving on to, yes, over here with this story with Bane and the character of Quinlan Vos. This guy right here. Where'd he go? Right here. So it's a fight between them. Now, if you hadn't read the comics, you may not be familiar with some of these characters. So it's really cool that they're keeping some things in canon and continuity. So what I said a little bit earlier is I'm going to flip through here because every piece is done differently in the art style and even in the tone of the story. Hey, again, that connecting factor. What makes this different than the Marvel comics is that these are done, or I guess geared towards young adults. There's still death here. There's still a little bit of violence. It doesn't have, if you look back here, it doesn't really have a rating. Like Marvel and DC usually put a rating on their books. But, I mean, honestly, this is like teen, at least. I mean, to me, when I think of young adults, I don't think of things like this. I think of like lighthearted stories. The stories in here at times can be really freaking awesome. And not that there's anything bad with young adult fiction. As a matter of fact, some of my favorite comics are young adult comics, but you don't see death, you don't see or at least violence is what I mean. Over here, they do get a little violent. I mean, we're talking about lightsabers, right? And with lightsabers comes a little bit of action. Then again, I guess it's more like episodes 4, 5, and 6 in the way that those were originally rated. Maybe that's the type of violence that you're going to be seeing through here. And again, all of this is tied together by one particular story. I love the fact that we have this character appear in here. This is a character named Bosch, not to be confused with the bounty hunter. This guy right here, who was part of the Millennium Falcon. We just watched it last night as of this video, because it was the first movie I remember my dad taking me to see. And I wanted to just reminisce my dad. And I watched it with my girls. So we saw Return of the Jedi, and there was this character here who doesn't go by any name within the movie, but here he is known as Bash. He was one of the passengers in the Millennium Falcon on this last mission. And it shows you the part and role that he has to play. In the back, we do have character sketches. And you saw the covers in between the chapters. And there's that little girl who was the beginning of all this, and then the different variant covers here in the back done in a thumbnail size. This particular book has sewn binding, 280 pages, and printed in really, really thick glossy paper stock. Now the question is, where are people going to keep it? Are they going to keep it with their Star Wars Marvel Omnis? They're going to put it somewhere else by itself with the Dark Horse Library editions? That is the question. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this library edition, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this library edition. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, if you were picking it up in trade paperbacks, you didn't even know there was a library edition coming out, or if you have any questions, leave your questions down below. Smash that like button on the way out. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.